No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I don't.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is
Did
that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No, I
Did
said,
you just say
no,
I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
CNN?
No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed?
What happened was that Ryan Girdusky, who's a CNN commentator, he faced immediate dismissal from CNN, his network, for comments about a person he was facing off against, whose name is Hasan. And while Hasan has made inflammatory remarks about Trump supporters without similar repercussions, this guy, they had a heated exchange, basically, you could say, wherein Girdusky basically said to him, more in jest, it appears, than anything else, because this Hasan guy is a known supporter of the Palestinians and has said inflammatory things about Israel, etc. And he made an on-camera sort of joke that was taken very badly. Well, where he said something to the order of, you better check your pager, and the whole CNN panel erupted and just attacked this Girdusky. And what this really shows is the great hypocrisy in the media. This Hasan has a track record of making provocative statements, including comparing non-Muslims to animals and referring to non-believers as cattle. And these remarks, which can be seen as basically dehumanizing, I think, is the best way, the best takeaway you could have about his statements, have not led to any professional consequences for this Mr. Hasan. In contrast, Girdusky's comment to him, which he likely intended as a joke, as I said before, resulted in Girdusky's immediate termination by CNN, suggesting a great bias in how the media addresses inflammatory language, depending upon which side of the divide one is on. CNN often allows for harsh criticisms of Republicans and certainly of President Trump and other conservative figures, framing these as part of a broader political discourse. However, when similar critiques or jokes are directed at progressive figures, the response is swift and severe, indicating a double standard that seems to favor one ideological perspective over another. Girdusky's remark can be interpreted as a jab rather than a serious threat. Hasan's interpretation of it as a death threat appeared to me to be highly exaggerated, especially given the content of their discussion. And Hasan's overreaction reflects a sensitivity that doesn't seem to apply when progressives make derogatory statements about their conservative opponents. Hasan's offense at Girdusky's comment seems mightily hypocritical when considering his own past rhetoric. And by expressing outrage over a comment that could be interpreted in various ways, Hasan overlooks his own use of past inflammatory language. And this selective outrage, so typical of those in the mainstream American media, I feel undermines his position and raises questions about his credibility as a commentator. Basically, the differing treatment of Girdusky and Hasan underscores a need for greater accountability in media discourse. The mainstream media should strive for consistency in how it handles controversial comments, regardless of the political affiliation of the person making the statement. This inconsistency not only harms public trust in media outlets, but it also stifles open political discourse. No one seems to protest at the widespread usage of that term, which to so many in the West is the greatest insult that you could make against someone, to call them a Nazi. I mean, it's basically equivalent to calling them Satan. But that doesn't seem to trigger anyone on the left. So there's this great hypocrisy and double standard, and the whole CNN panel that this guy was on, including the host and moderator, just attacked him. And but he was definitely supported on social media, on Twitter. I went to his Twitter site and saw that a lot of people feel similarly to I do, that this is completely hypocritical. They were outraged, as you brought up, that Kamala Harris and her crowd are openly calling Donald Trump a Nazi and a fascist and a totalitarian. And this doesn't seem to bother them one iota. The hot mic moment that you refer to is where Kamala Harris admitted that indeed she does seem to have a problem with among young men, young male voters. And it's easy to see that Kamala Harris's promise to represent all Americans really lacks authenticity and substance, and it rings hollow among certain voter demographics, particularly among young males, and it doesn't seem to matter their ethnic background or their racial background, and this has certainly rubbed many key constituents the wrong way, and I'm sure the Harris campaign is quite shocked to realize that she is losing ground among not only young men, but young Black men. As is so often the case with Harris, what she pledges in her rhetoric seems not to match reality. She's not at all principled, as shown by her say anything willingness to change her long-held extreme policy stances, basically in order to give the impression that she has moved to the center to cultivate votes. Her unsubstantiated promises come off as nothing but empty political platitudes, essentially. Harris's rhetoric lacks the authenticity and specificity needed to appeal to diverse groups. They see her statements as last-minute, desperate attempts to placate without meaningful commitments, leading to skepticism, particularly among those who feel sidelined by her stated policy priorities. A significant portion of male voters of all races feel alienated by the Democratic Party's emphasis on issues that seem to sideline their concerns. The party's focus on feminist and LGBT issues can conflict with this audience's cultural or personal values, leading to a sense that their beliefs are dismissed or even vilified within the Democratic Party. And as a mouthpiece for these policies, Kamala Harris is often seen as out of touch with these voters, and by these voters, I'm referring largely to males, young males, even males of African American origin. Harris's focus on gender and identity politics triggers concerns among many men who perceive her policies as reinforcing a divide that leaves us marginalized. The rapid societal changes in gender roles pushed by the left, championed by Harris and the Democrats, are a threat to traditional structures and intensify these feelings of alienation. This sentiment is particularly resonant among young men who feel overlooked by the current Biden administration, more drawn toward Trump's record and rhetoric, I believe.